Thank you so much for joining us for another replay from the Affecting Destiny Vault. Today's guest, we have Dr. Sam Chand, and he has a special message from 2017 where he shares critical leadership principles with us. So get your notepad, get your pen, get ready to take notes, and be transformed by these leadership talks.
So I got this phone call from my friend and your friend, Bishop Tony Miller. He asked me, he said, Sam, do you believe in free speech? I said, yeah, I believe in free speech. It's America, free speech. Yeah, good. He said, well, if you believe in free speech, can you give me one? So there I'm coming to you. Free speech. Tony Miller, Affecting Destiny Conference. Bishop Miller is a great friend of mine. I love you, sir. You have changed hundreds of thousands of lives, maybe millions, all over the world. You are an impacting apostle in the kingdom. And I just want to join the thousands of people just to say thank you so much for who you are, what you do, and this great conference that you convened. So you said to me, Sam, you don't have to have a topic. So I'm going to be true to that. I'm going to give you a non-topic conversation right now. So in preparing for this conversation, I asked myself, Sam, what have you learned in the last few months? In the last few months that would be helpful to senior leaders of churches and corporations. In my consulting work, I get to travel all over the world. Corporate, church, ministry, marketplace. And I've learned a few things and I'm just going to give them to you. Warning. Nothing connects. So if you're thinking, what's the connection between point 1 and point 2? No connection whatsoever. So you need to know that up front. So here's the first thing. Numbers change, but issues remain the same. Numbers change, but issues remain the same. I can work with a church of 200, or I can work with a church of 300,000. When I'm sitting down with the pastor and talking to them, the same issues are true everywhere. Not long ago, I was working with a pastor who's got 300,000 people that show up on a Sunday, 62 locations in one city. I'm having dinner with him. And as he was asking me questions, consulting and asking questions, it hit me. He's asking me the same question that a pastor of 200 would ask, a pastor of 100 would ask. So if you are sitting in that seat saying, one day I'm going to come to such a level that I don't have to deal with this and I don't have to deal with that, I got an encouraging word for you. Never happen. Numbers change, but issues remain the same. In fact, the higher you go, the harder you will work. If you are listening to me right now and your church is growing, you're in an upward trajectory, you're working harder today than you've ever worked in your life. Numbers change, issues remain the same. The second thing I found out is that clarity cancels confusion. Clarity cancels confusion. When I talk to senior staffs, they think they know what the senior pastor wants. And they go with that. However, there's always that little angst at the end. Man, I thought they were going to do this. How could they misunderstand? I want to suggest to every senior leader listening to me right now that you will pay now, play later, or you will play now and pay later, but you will pay. So the most important thing that you have to remind yourself is that the clearer you are at the front end of things, expectation. If you have to get a napkin and draw a picture how you want the room to be arranged, if you want something that has to be done exactly like you want, then you'll have to create as much clarity at the front end of it. Clarity cancels confusion. Number 3, your major task as a senior leader is to create the environment and the atmosphere in which you can have healthy teams. Create the environment and the atmosphere. So you are the chief environmental officer, the chief atmospheric officer. You have to make sure that the culture is healthy. You got to make sure that people are there who are into who you are congruent with your core values, congruent with your vocabulary, congruent with how you think. You create that atmosphere and that environment in which the church can flourish. The biggest angst I'm seeing among growing churches is what I call the wisdom gap. The gap between the senior pastor and the next person, whoever it might be, executive pastor, executive team, senior leadership, I don't care what you call them. The gap between the senior pastor and the next is ever increasing. That's not difficult to understand. If you're the senior pastor, you grow simply by waking up, because during a day's time, you're going to read, you're going to talk to people who are your peers, you're going to get podcasts, you're going to get webinars, you're going to have stuff coming to you, you'll be making decisions, you're going to have conversations, and all of them help you grow if you're willing to grow. But you grow by simply waking up in the morning. But everybody else in your organization is task-oriented. They don't have those growth opportunities coming at them. They have to proactively, of their own initiative, leave their spaces, their cubicles, their offices, their desks, their computer, whatever they have to do, they have to take the initiative to grow. That wisdom gap, first of all, it should never be closed. It can't be. Otherwise, you become obsolete. But how do you keep that wisdom gap closed so that your mental margins continue to grow? So let me talk to you about margins. The faster church grows, the greater things that take place, your margins get smaller. Your margins get smaller. And as your margins get smaller, your creativity goes away. Your innovative ideas go away. You become more task-oriented, more problem solver. And the more you become a problem solver, the smaller your church will stay. Because you got to have those margins. You got to fight for those margins. And the larger your church gets, the harder you got to fight for those margins in your life. Let me talk to you about 2-3 more things. How about building a healthy team? Building a healthy team. Happy too. Building a healthy team. Healthy team. Building. Not assembling, building. Building takes work. Building takes time. Building takes one person at a time. Building means that you have to lean into building the team. It's time consuming. It is very labor intensive. And the thing that you have to keep reminding yourself is that as a team, you have to know who is really with you. Who do you really consider as your team member? Let me give you an assignment. Don't do it right now. But if you were to take a piece of paper, iPad, whatever you're taking notes on, and I'm going to give you a scenario, and without thinking, if you'll make notes. Here's the scenario. If you were to shut your church down today, shut it down, and relocate to a city of your preference, anywhere in the world. You're going to shut your church down. You're going to relocate to a city of your own preference. Who would be the 5 people you will say, I have to take with me to be successful over there? Don't name family. No family members. No family members. There could be people already on your team. There could be volunteers. There could be attendees who are not engaged in the life of the church. But if you had to take 5 people with you who are you, who have your DNA, who have your culture, who think like you, who have grabbed the vision, who have initiative, who are going somewhere, who have ambition, 5 people from your present church to go to the next city, who would those 5 people be? And here's my question for you. If there are people on your team right now that don't show up on that 5 people team, my question for you is, why are they on your team right now? The second scenario right behind that is, what are you doing intentionally with those 5? Are you taking them for granted? Are you just giving them jobs? Are you just assigning them, could you do this, could you do that? Are you relegating them to tasks? What are you doing with those 5 to develop them into better leaders? 2 more things. A lot of conversation right now about working intergenerationally with millennials and so on and so forth. I'm here to tell you, as long as you're thinking like that, you are creating an unhealthy environment. Because now you're talking about us and them. Us who have to understand them, and they have to work hard at understanding us. I'm of the opinion that categorizing, that classification is divisive, not unifying. Number 2, I'm of the opinion that it's a way of thinking. So when we say, well, millennials think this way, and boomers think this way, and busters think that way, and Xers think that way, and Yers think that way, it's a way of thinking. Engaging multiple generations in the same organization has to focus on unifying rather than us and them. Well, you know how they are. Even that sentence is demeaning. Even that sentence is divisive. Because you got to honor and respect. See, there's a difference between honor and respect. Honor is about the person. Respect is about what they do. Honor is based on personhood. Respect is based on competency and performance. You can honor somebody, not respect them. You can respect somebody, not honor them. But everything has to start with honor. If you're going to build a team, you have to create this atmosphere of honor in which you don't talk about one team member with another team member in some kind of a passive-aggressive, sarcastic, cutting way. That's how you build healthy teams. So, the last thing I want to say to you, I know Bishop Tony Miller is saying, hey, Sam, say something about Jesus. Say something about God. So I want to give you something that has been great encouragement to me, and hopefully it'll be a great encouragement to you. 2 things, but they go together. God prepares for you, and God prepares you for whatever you're dealing with. God prepares for you. You need to know, in His sovereignty, He knew you in your mother's womb. You're not here by accident. God prepares for you. But God also prepares you for whatever you are dealing with right now. So go with courage. Go with preparation. Go with believing that God believes in you and you are affecting destiny. Thank you, Bishop Miller, for letting me speak to senior pastors and the honor that I have to serve you. Mega blessings on you and everybody when you're watching me.
We hope you guys enjoyed that message just as much as we did. Now here's something exciting coming up that you guys need to register for. On August 20th, we're going to have a Leadership One Day, but you need to register. So we want you at this amazing event. It's free, but you need to register. So go to the website, TonyMiller.tv. Lock in your spot as we continue to grow together.